All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to Gear There and Everywhere. I am Sam, and as always, I'm joined by my co-hosts, Ryan and Michael. Dom couldn't make it today, but it is a very special episode because today we are interviewing Marcel and Marc from Aclam, the pedal company. Hey, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Maybe we can start off by saying, is it Aclam or Aclam?
Well, kind of both.
Kind of both works for us.
In Spain, we say Aclam, but it is a Catalan name, which is another language inside the Spanish area. And
Does it sound weird to you guys?
I'm just glad that I wasn't saying it wrong. I've been saying Aclam, and then I thought it was Acclaim, but now it sounds like I'm right both ways. Yeah,
yeah, it's kind of right both ways.
We say Aclam.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Good. I'm glad we got to the bottom of this before we dive in. That's the real mystery. But thank you guys so much for joining us today. So for anyone who doesn't know, Aclam makes incredible products. Mostly guitar pedals is what they're known for, and pedal boards too. Mm-hmm. And I think among us Beatles enthusiasts, the Dr. Robert was the first real exciting introduction into exploring Beatles tones that you guys made, and it's been such a popular product.
Got mine right here. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And,
Got one over there. Sorry.
It's an incredible pedal.
We all got one.
Well, thank you. Glad you like it.
I think I can say everyone loves it. First of all, you had Klaus Voormann make the artwork, which I want to talk about later because that is so cool.
Of course.
Yeah, actually, it was Marcel's idea. Well, the whole Dr. Robert project was Marcel's idea, but all that referred to the artwork was, Marcel's leading, and he succeeded. Yeah.
Well, maybe we can start with that. Is like what your role in the company is. Like, what is Marc's specialty? Marcel, you founded the company, I guess. Is that right?
The company was founded by my boss is Jordi Canibay, and with other team David Menyosa, and then later on came Marta and Joel, and so how many of us are
right now? We'd say 5 on a permanent team, and then there's some collaborators who do, for example, there's Mikel, who does some soldering and assembly.
And also Xavi,
who does soldering and assembly too. But yeah, back then, when we started making pedals, there were like 7 or 8 people, graphic designers, sales team, and then it kind of, shrink up a little bit, and right now we are 5, 6. Sometimes people come, they do some work and then leave, and but yeah, 5, it's the solid team.
Yeah, and this started because we went to the NAMM some years ago because we were presenting the pedal boards. We still didn't have back then didn't have pedals. And I just thought we should make pedals because I feel I'm capable. Marc wasn't there yet, and I'm not sure what year I'm talking about. Probably was 2000.
The first time we talked about a project of making pedals was 2016, I guess. Then I started working with a company in 2017.
Hola, soy Marc, diseñador de producto en Aclam y el padre del Dr. Robert.
And then 2018 came the Dr. Robert. 2018, 2019.
But it wasn't the first one.
No, we started with the Cinnamon Drive.
It's a great pedal. It's based on the Neil Young kind of Tweed Deluxe tone. Is that right?
Yeah.
It's inspired.
Inspired by.
We couldn't say it is because we didn't use that amplifier, but we were inspired more in the feel.
His fuzzy kind of tones,
Well, how it turned out, Marcel reached me. I used to have a repair shop in Barcelona, and I did pedal repairs and also assembled pedal boards. that's how I started collaborating with Aclam, and he approached me with the idea of designing pedals. And in fact, he approached another pedal builders in Spain.
Yeah, well, some of them. I don't know right now how many, but
Like
I think
five
or six. Yeah.
And then they did this kind of pedal design contest, and I proposed my pedal design, and that turned out to be the Cinnamon Drive. That was our first design. While we were designing the Cinnamon Drive, the Dr. Robert voyage started.
But I think actually it was the first one that we thought, the Dr. Robert, just that came out the second.
Yeah, he had the idea. In fact, he had the prototype from another designer, and that didn't fit, for Aclam. And I started working on my approach, and that was what it turned out to the Dr. Robert.
Did that come about because you had the Vox UL730 already and you were inspired by the amp?
Not really.
No.
In fact, the story with this pedal is that I am a bit obsessed with the Beatles, and at that moment I was really obsessed about the Revolver electric guitar sound, and I didn't know what it was. I thought it was the AC30s or AC50s, but I started to make some investigations, and especially through Facebook groups, I found out about this rare UL series, and then when I realized that it was a big part of the Revolver album, I started looking for an amplifier, and that was a kind of fun, but also a nightmare because it was super, super hard, and some anecdotes, some of them not very good, but at the end we have it here. So,
where in that process did you start, actually trying to get yourself a UL730? Well, that seems kind of hard. There's only 24 of them, right?
Yeah, that's what they say. I remember when we started all this pedal journey that Marcel asked me about this amp, and I didn't know anything about it, pretty much as him. And he started looking on the internet, and what he's talking about, all that bad story, was we found one. Well, he found one in London, and the seller was a bit shady, and he tried to scam him.
Yeah.
Actually.
Gotta love it.
He found one, I think it was a 730 or 760.
No, in fact, it was a 430.
430,
it was,
the base version.
The base version.
Okay. Which is quite similar. The preamp is almost the same. There's a little bit of difference on the power stage, and also on the speaker cabinet. That's the major difference. And the guy sent the speaker cabinet, but never sent the head.
Oh, wow.
And we started, complaining via PayPal.
Yeah, but luckily we got the money back.
Yeah, we got the money back.
That's good. Because if I remember right, the 730s, like the ones I've seen on Reverb occasionally, there's been one that was like $15,000, but that's just the head, so the cabinet's not worth as much.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's worth because of the rarity, but the speakers are pretty much the same as the AC30s and later solid state amps from that era.
Well, the one we have, which is the 430 series, is this silver.
There are
silver label
silver speakers, but they are ceramic, not Alnico.
Oh, okay.
That's
I was thinking
difference.
they were the silver Alnicos.
I think the guitar cabinets had silver Alnicos, but the bass ones had ceramics.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
T is
Makes
something.
sense.
I don't remember.
And are you sure about that? Because I thought it was the
our cabinet,
Alnicos.
Our cabinet has ceramic speakers.
That's good to know. It's good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Interesting. I have an AC100, so it's got the silver Alnicos, but that's not the bass one. So I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you like them?
The headroom is what you need to get that mid-period Beatles sound for not Revolver, but like talking about Help especially, and some of Beatles for Sales when they got those AC100s. And so that headroom, you get that extra clarity on like a Tennessean or something like that you just don't get on an AC30. And it's pretty hard to replicate. But then obviously after that, then they got the US series.
How did you, for me, being in Spanish, and you have to think that I think in Catalan, and I translate it to English, and it's difficult for me to talk about sound, and it's a kind of abstract thing. But how would you describe this kind of sound? I mean, the electric guitar sound on Revolver and this UL 730s.
Yeah, it's kind of a hard thing to describe because, you know, there's obviously a bunch of guitars already because you've got the SG, the Casino, the Strats. Yeah. And then you've also got, I remember Paul McCartney talking about when the album got released that he was worried it all sounded like it was out of tune because they were doing so much tape manipulation. So you've got that added on there. But I mean, you have the rain sound, which is almost like sludgy. I don't know how to describe it, but you know,
it's
when
good.
you got
Sludgy.
It's good, but
I like it sludgy.
It's sort of more filling the space, I guess. Like the guitars earlier on, they sort of, and this is maybe partially due to the stereo mixes, they sort of feel more like they're one little piece of the puzzle. But the guitars on Revolver sort of fill the space a lot more.
Yeah, the word I was going to use was gnarly. Like it really does growl.
Yeah,
and it's
like
funny
that one
because
too.
like the guitar tone on Rubber Soul is almost kind of glassy, like the Stratocasters, the clean acoustics. Then Revolver, everything really jumps out at you and growls. It's a fantastic sound.
And then we got scammed and eventually got the money back.
And by the way, I think I also contacted this guy that you were talking about on River and almost made a deal with him, but we agreed for a price, and then later on he said, "No, I think I'm gonna charge you 5,000 more or something."
Oh.
And I said, "Screw you." So,
Yeah.
But real quick, as a quick explanation for why there's so few of these for people who don't know, I believe it was Vox made 100 of them, and this was the very end of their tube amp era as they were switching to solid state. And then I don't know, maybe they weren't selling terribly. I don't know why they made so few initially, but at some point in that process they said we're going to start switching fully to solid state, and then they stopped making them and they recalled as many as they could, I guess, to take the parts out is what I understand. So they got 76 of them back and scrapped them, and then 24 were left in the world.
Perhaps we don't know. I mean, the Transformers are pretty unique. They are ultra linear. That's a technology that Fender used on the late 70s to make them more linear, so less distortion.
late 60s?
No, Fender.
Fender. You were talking about Fender.
Mid to late 70s, and
okay.
I mean, they are really complex. If you compare it to the previous AC30s and AC50s and 100s, and even the next generation was even simpler. They had just two-band EQ. Well, there's the mid-range boost, but it's not a knob, it's a rocker switch. And I think that they were like crazy expensive back then. And they didn't have the same sound as the AC30s. And people, that's my guess, that people already knew the AC30s for the Beatles, and that's what they wanted. So they went back to the drawing board and did something similar to the AC30, but with the solid state technology, which was pretty much readily available back then.
Because and that would be, which amp would that be? Like the
next generation was the Conqueror, the Defiant.
Well, there's that bit in the middle right before those, or maybe I guess they're around the same time. I'm thinking of the. You're right. It's the Conqueror and the Defiant, but there's also those like the Berkeley, and they have different names. They were called like the Super Reverb.
But
they
US
had different names in the US and the UK versions.
Yeah, but those versions were made in the United States because Vox had kind of two companies. They had the JMI branch, which were the amps made in the UK. And then there was Thomas Organ, which was the company that was manufacturing the amps for the United States. In fact, many things from the Vox UL 7, the Vox UL series, and also the next generation Conqueror, Defiant, came from the solid state experiments from the United States.
Yeah.
Okay. Dick Denny, that's what I read, but they say that Dick Denny went on a trip to the United States and he saw all that they were doing and experimenting, and he kind of imported some of the ideas to the British designs. Okay. And that's why I think they lasted less than a year, because they thought that it was, too much knobs for an amp back then.
Well, I mean, especially the complexity you were talking about. My AC100, the amp basically right before the UL series, the only thing, it has 2 input jacks, and then it has a treble, bass, and volume, and that's all it's got. 3 rotary knobs. Yeah. And like right behind you, you can see the UL series stuff. It's got like 10 things on the front.
Yeah.
Well, but there are 2 channels.
Yeah, because there's two channels.
And there's the tremolo and reverb. On which one is?
On the normal channel, you got reverb, and then on the other one, you got tremolo. I think I don't remember right now. And the vibrato channel is the one that has the distortion. Okay. I guess I don't remember right now.
And these ones, these ones, I can't remember if they did or didn't have that. Did they have that foot switch that had the fuzz effect?
Yeah. Yeah. Let me show you.
You can see Paul McCartney with that, right?
Pardon me?
You can see, isn't there a photo of Paul McCartney with that foot switch in the casino?
Yeah, and I think he actually used for the bass as well, the guitar amp, the 730. He used as well the 430 series. Yeah, but he also used the 730.
That's the foot switch. Sorry, that's the foot switch for the. This actually is the one from the Conqueror, but it's exactly
they are the same. Yeah.
Well, the enclosure and the foot switch are the same, but the wiring is different in the UL series and the next generation. But
so, what do those 3 switches do?
Distortion, reverb, and vibrato, tremolo. It's
could you have more than one on at once?
You can have all the effects on, but you wouldn't use it. I mean, you can turn all the effects on, but if you're using the vibrato channel, you'll hear just distortion and tremolo vibrato. Okay. And if you're using the normal channel, you'll have only reverb, because the effects are on different channels.
Is that a spring reverb? What kind of reverb was inside?
It's curious. It's a different reverb than the Fender and more popular. Yeah. And probably better sounding. But still, I love it. I mean, this one.
Back then,
they use a piezo.
Yeah, they use phono cartridges from record players, because Vox didn't want to pay the patent, or the fee, the patent fee. I don't know exactly how to say it, but they didn't want to pay the patent fee to use Hammond river tanks. So they came up with their own idea, and it sounds a little bit darker. It has a cavern-like tone.
Yeah,
it's not drippy. It's not as springy as the Fender ones.
It's more probably more appropriate for garage rock, or more than surf music, for example. I would say.
Not the best part of the amp, in my opinion.
And did all the Vox amps following that, like into the early 70s or whatever, did they all include that same type of reverb?
As far as I know, the Conqueror, Defiant, and Supreme, plus the UL 7 series, had the same reverb tank. But I think that the Thomas Organ ones had Hammond-style reverb tanks. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's really curious. I mean, the talking about this amplifier, and to me, it makes sense that they were experimenting. Probably at that time they were fed up with the tubes having to change every now and then. And so when they started with these hybrid tubes and solid state, and that was at the end of September or so, they released in 66 the whole series. And then in 67, they released the Conqueror and the Fire series, which to me it also makes totally sense that the Beatles liked a lot because it was a new thing, like, oh, solid state, great.
Yeah.
No, quick question for you about that September date. Is that the 700 series that you're talking about?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was September, yeah.
I just know there's the 7,000 ones because they had the 7120 before that, which there's photos of that in April. And I don't know the differences.
No, maybe, I don't know. I was thinking, because do you know when the Revolver was released?
I think August 3rd. Is that right?
So it couldn't be September then. Couldn't be September. So April makes sense. Yeah. Sorry,
very interesting.
My mistake.
Oh, I mean, you know more than I do about this stuff.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not sure. You guys know a lot in.
We focus on, at least on my end, I focused on the technical part of it, and he was more, focused on the history and all the release dates and all that stuff. But you can know that for sure. I mean, you can know which date an album was released, and you can locate the amp into that recording. So. It probably was released, on that period or prior to that. But, it's kind of hard to define on which date all the amp series were released.
Yeah.
But
we don't even have dates for when, like the albums before that, like I think Please Please Me, maybe we know. But like if you look at any other band, we have no clue what, we have like a month maybe.
Yeah.
I think one of the cool things about the Beatles is that they are really well documented. I mean, but still there are lots of things that we don't know and we only can guess about.
Perhaps it's the most documented band ever.
Yeah, well, most documented for people ever, probably. So maybe... I mean, I don't want to cut you off if we got a good part going here, but maybe should we talk about, with Revolver, how you guys got in contact with Klaus Voorman?
Yeah.
That's Marcel's part.
Very easily. I sent him an email. But I wasn't sure who I was sending an email to, but I thought maybe there was a team of people working with him. And in fact, probably, I don't know if you can see part of that poster over there. Yeah, that's the first thing I got, I mean, from Klaus Voorman, because I saw, when I visited Liverpool some years ago, I saw that poster and I thought, wow, that's great, because it's, Revolver could be from, it's the same guy, so it makes sense. So I liked a lot that poster, and I contacted through his website, and he answered me, and there was the signature like KV, and I said, wait, are you Klaus Voorman? Which is kind of a silly
guy,
kind of a silly question, but I wasn't expecting that, and he said, yes, today I'm answering the emails, and probably every day was answering emails like anyone would do, I guess. So that was some months before we were working with this project, and then I contacted him again and asked him if he would be interested in collaborating with us in this project, and he said, yeah, fine, yeah, let's do it. And I was awesome. Wow, great.
Yeah.
Maybe if it's that easy, we got to try to get him on the podcast sometime.
Yeah. You should
definitely.
I mean, he's probably the biggest guy that saw the Beatles in 61. He saw them in Hamburg, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's super important in the Beatles history. He was there from the very beginning. And by the way, did you know that when people talk about the Beatles haircut, at first when they were talking about it, they were calling it Klaus haircut because he was the first
Part of the
one
X's.
being the boyfriend of Astrid. Probably she experimented with him first. And by the way, if you think about it, talking about the haircuts, to me that was really like a punk thing.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
If you listen to the Star Club stuff, it sounds like early punk music or something. It's crazy that we sort of just barely missed hearing like great recordings of that stuff. It could have changed the music scene in a completely different way.
One of the good things when you talk on, if you have listened Klaus, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, Klaus Voorman or
Voorman.
Voorman.
Yeah.
We've had a commenter say it's F. Foreman, but I don't know.
Well, anyway,
German.
when he talks about being there and just for chance because he was upset with Astrid one night and then went to I think it was Kaiser Keller and saw that there was this rock and roll band playing. They were the Beatles with
Stu Sutcliffe.
Stu Sutcliffe, exactly.
Right.
And he was like, very amazed. Like they were really back then, even with him, with the Stu, a really rock and roll band, really, really good. That was before Paul switched to bass, but
that's really
it's
cool.
a really interesting story, and I think you guys should talk to Klaus.
It is pretty amazing. This is one of the like biggest selling points of this is that like I was very excited for the sound, but then you look at it, it's a unique piece of artwork that resembles a Revolver cover. It's just phenomenal. It's like having an extra Sgt. Pepper cover you hadn't seen before on a pedal. So it's just fantastic.
And actually,
it definitely like you know what it is when you look at it. You know who did it.
Yeah. And actually, this isn't the first version of the drawing. Actually, when he approached him, he asked, I don't know if you asked him or he proposed two options to get an already drawn artwork or get a custom one. And I think that he sent some ideas that he had already drawn.
Yeah,
and
different ideas.
We finally decided to get a unique custom one, and he did kind of like 2 or 3 iterations of the artwork.
Yeah.
I'd love to see some of those. Are you ever gonna release those, or are they private in the vaults?
Yeah, we have thought about it.
Yeah. Perhaps we can do some limited round in the future. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think that you told me that when you explain him about the pedal and the name and the story that was behind it, he told you that he recalled that night.
Yeah, because he was involved in that story. You know, the Dr. Robert story about this doctor that gave, it was actually a dentist, Dr. Robert.
Yeah.
That John and George and their girlfriends at the time went to this dinner, right? I mean, you know the story.
A dentist in London laid it on George, me, and our wives without telling us at the dinner party at his house. He was a friend of George's and our dentist at the time. And he just put it in our coffee or something, He was saying, I advise you not to leave, and we thought he was all trying to keep us for an orgy in his house, and we didn't want to know, I mean, it was insane going around London on it, and we thought when we went to the club, we thought it was on fire, and we were cackling in the street, and then, people were shouting, let's break a window, we were just insane. I mean, we just had our heads, and finally we got in the lift, and we all thought there was a fire in the lift. It was just a little red light, and we were all screaming like that. And the lift stops, and the door opens, and we're all going, ah! And we just see that it's the club, and then we walk in, sit down, and the table's elongated. It was only a table like this with 4 of us, but it went this long. And then some singer came up to me and said, "Can I sit next to you?" And I go, "Only if you don't talk." You know, like, because I just couldn't think. And then George somehow or another managed to drive us home in his Mini, but we were going about 10 miles an hour. It seemed like 1,000. And I was getting all this sort of hysterical jokes coming out, like a speed, because I was always on that. Till you know, and George was going, "Don't make me laugh!" And you know, God, it was just terrifying. But it was fantastic. And then George's house seemed to be just like a big submarine. I was driving it. They all went to bed. I was carrying on my own. It seemed to float above his wall, which was 18 foot. You know, I was right driving.
So the Klaus is related to this story because after that they went to a club where Klaus was playing with a trio. I don't remember Klaus. I don't know if you remember the name of a trio that Klaus played.
No, I guess this is before Manfred Mann. Yeah, this would be in 65. That's right. That's a whole year before.
Exactly. Yes, and so he was playing in a club that night, and he met them, and he was kind of impressed because, as he said, they were out of lunch completely.
Just amazing. Klaus introduced the haircut. He was at the LSD Experience. He plays bass on Cold Turkey. He's really the Forrest Gump of the Beatles story. He's everywhere.
And Michael, you know what else he was?
What was he?
He was in the Hollies for 2 weeks.
Oh, God.
Wow. Really? I didn't
in
know
66. That. He joined between Eric Haydock leaving and Bernie Calvert joining. He was in the Hollies for 2 weeks, and he helped Tony compose the solo on Bus Stop. They worked it out together. And then
he played bass?
Had an offer, I think. Yeah, he had his weird... I think he was playing... He wasn't playing his weird bass yet, because he had that one custom made a little bit later. But... I think he had an offer, and he ended up joining Manfred Mann instead.
I played that weird custom bass. Yeah, you're talking about the box. Well, at least
it's got like some bass strings and some guitar strings or something.
Yeah, I tried to play it a little bit, but I couldn't do it.
Dude, what exactly is it?
I met him at his house in Frankfurt. Yeah, when I traveled there with another friend of mine. So he signed some pedals for us.
Yeah.
And that was great. I mean, meeting the man in person and being a Beatles nut, I guessed for him must be a bit pain in the ass, but asking lots of questions. But I got some really interesting stories. Some of them unknown, I think.
Oh, that's really cool. That's cool. You got to play that custom guitar bass thing that he had.
Yeah, but
I didn't know he still had it. I thought it would have been something that disappeared sometime.
I think there may be a video. I'm not sure, because when we released some of the videos from Dr. Robert, there must be a video, right, of me at his place. Probably. I'm not sure.
Yeah. There's some footage, involved.
Did he have his P bass at his house too?
Yes, I didn't have the chance to play it, but it was there. Yeah,
it's cool.
And it's super cool. Yeah.
A funny thing. Sorry,
go ahead, Marc. No, sorry.
Well, a funny thing that I remember from that. He went to the trip to meet Klaus, and he got some enclosures signed by him. He did some in black, some in silver, and some in gold. Those gold ones were released as a limited edition for units, kind of the deluxe package, blah blah blah. But the fun thing or the happy thing is that when we released the Dr. Robert, and sales kind of jumped up, and the pedal was doing good. We did a party, and then David, who's not the CEO of the company, well, he's the general manager of the company.
Yeah, I would say
he gave to each member of the team a signed Dr. Robert by Klaus Voormann as a gift to be part of the
wow. Which one is that? Nice. The gold one, the silver one?
Well, I gotta say that I've got a black one, I got a silver one, and a gold one. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. In fact, there's 5 gold ones. There's the 4 that went, for sale. And then there's the Unit 0 that I kept for my collection.
I only have the black one, and I went there. So I was there, but anyway.
Wow. Marc lucked out.
Yeah, but you can send in an email and get another one signed, man.
Maybe. Yeah.
That's up to you.
Well, how did you get I don't know if you finished the story, but how you got the actual amp after the reverb?
I found one through a Facebook group, and and I saw there was an actual amplifier that was for sale. At that moment, it wasn't for sale, but had been for sale in a DJ second-hand company, you can find turntables and things like that. But there was an UL 730 in France. So
do you think someone was using it for DJing?
Yeah.
No,
I think it was more like a pawn shop.
Yeah,
they have
something like that.
Diverse music and stuff, amps and DJ stuff, and they had one. And he sent me the ad, and he asked me, "Is that for real? Is that the one?" And it was, yeah.
And I got in touch with this guy that was selling the amp, and he told me that still had the amp and in France. Where was that in France?
Lyon.
Lyon. Yeah. But this guy was really into guitars and amps because he had really cool guitars. I remember.
Yeah, I remember that I told him, "Hey, why don't we go? We rent a car and go there and pick it up, so I can open it and see that everything is in good shape." And it sounds actually, because the guy said that he had no speaker cabinet. He had just some random Marshall 1x12. So
we didn't get the cabinet.
No, but he said that he had that cabinet to try it out. And I told Marcel, "Hey, why don't we go together?" And
but I'm not sure if I remember correctly, but I told you, like, I'm going tomorrow to pick up this amplifier, and you said, I'm coming.
Yeah, it was one or 2 days prior.
And I said,
to the
okay,
trip. Yeah.
Okay. And so Barcelona to Lyon, I think it takes 8 or 10 hours.
No, not that much. Not that much. Like 5 hours, something like that.
Sure? Okay.
Yeah.
So and we went and picked up the amp.
Yeah,
it was like
an
important moment.
Absolutely.
For my life, for sure.
Was it working when you received it?
It was working, but not properly. We had no chance to try the effects because we didn't have the foot switch. And you can bridge the foot switch pins on the connector on the amplifier.
No, but it came with the foot switch.
That one, no.
No?
It didn't care. No. In fact, I had a foot switch, a vintage box foot switch that I modified to use it with the UL 730. And which, some sound came out of it.
Yeah, but I remember it was recognizable. The sound was Beatles-ish for sure.
The mid-range control, that's the signature sound of that amplifier, and it is instantly recognizable. And
that's not the mid-range boost that's on the Conqueror. You're talking about just the knob on
the mid-potentiometer. And but we weren't able to try the tremolo and the reverb because on that early stage of the Dr. Robert project, we didn't know exactly what to put in the pedal. So the first prototype that I don't have here, but I have some pictures. It was a big box with everything, the tremolo, the reverb, the distortion, and then we started to taking things off.
You still have it?
Yeah.
So it had analog reverb and tremolo in it, or was it digital reverb?
It didn't have the reverb because it is virtually impossible to replicate.
In a box.
Yeah. Well, there's some small reverb tanks right now, but they don't use that piezo transducer technology. They use the regular
spring tank, like the Surfy Bear makes a big one.
The Acoutronics one.
And but it had tremolo and distortion. So yeah, we started working on sorry. First we got the amp, and then I spent a week or more restoring it, because it was, not destroyed, but in very bad shape. It had, not the best repairs done over the years. So I did a complete recap, special electrolytic caps, and some more things. And then I started, measuring and, kind of doing a blueprint of what the amp was. So, yeah. And I remember,
and there was some differences, right? From the schematics that we've found on the internet.
The online schematic doesn't match at least our unit in some component values, and some part of the circuit isn't exactly the same.
Is it an early model? Like, is yours a serial number that's early on or close to the Beatle one, or?
We don't know. Ours is serial number 3042. They didn't make like 3,000 amps. That's what we know for sure. Perhaps the 3 meant UL 730. So that's unit 42. That's my guess. I don't know. But at least on our amp and on the online schematic, there's some revisions of the circuit. Perhaps one is one of the first ones and doesn't have that revisions or on component values. We will never know.
Depends on whose amp it is and when it was made.
What we wanted to do is, to create the most accurate replica of the real thing that we had on our hands. So yeah, and the thing that impressed me the most, and I think Marcel too, is the raw distortion when you push the volume all the way up. That's uncanny, man. It sounds awesome. It sounds awesome.
I love how you included the mids, control on the pedal itself. I really like, because it's kind of a scoopy. I don't know if that's part of the transistor thing, but it's got a very bassy and trebly response. So when you crank up the mids, it kind of fills it in.
Yeah, it's kind of a shelving EQ. It does, this kind of peak on the mids, and if you turn it all the way down, it's like a deep valley. And actually, the mids control on the amp circuit is put apart from the bass and the treble. There's the first stage, there's the mids control, the volume, a recovery stage, and then the EQ, and then it goes into the output.
So some of you guys have the Conqueror, right? The box Conqueror?
The three of us do not.
No, Paul did. Paul did. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, because I saw that video. And well, if we talk about the Conqueror, or you compare it with the UL series, I still like a lot the Conqueror. Even I'm not really into solid state amplifiers, but this one it kind of matches the tube amp sound a little bit, and it has a very distinctive and really British sound of that era. But if I had to choose one, I would pick up the UL series because I think even though you are not really into the Beatles music, it's a really good amp. That distorted sound is so cool, and to me,
Jimmy Page used it too, or the 70-120 on like Whole Lotta Love.
And later on, New Order.
Yeah, Joy Division. The entire first album of Joy Division, the guitars.
She still uses.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I want to hear more about how you came up with the Mach Schau part of Dr. Robert.
We developed our style because of this fellow he used to say, you've got to make a show for the people. And he used to come up every night shouting, Mach Schau. So we used to Mach Schau, and John used to dance around like a gorilla, and we'd all, knock our heads together and things like that.
Well, that's what I was talking about. That the tube distortion, it was amazing, and when we tried to match the songs with our amp, we found that it wasn't the built-in distortion, the fuzz effect that, what later became the Mocker. It wasn't that. And to me, it sounded like they pushed the volume all the way up and let the amp do the rest. So
at that time, we weren't really happy with the fast sound.
Yeah, because the distortion circuit on our amp was faulty, and I didn't recognize that as faulty.
We didn't know
it sounded like that, and so we kept that aside for Dr. Robert. But I came with that idea of the FET section, FET, field effect transistor, which replicates that tube saturation or that tube distortion. And I said, Marcel, hey, why don't we put some foot switch to control two stages, so you can have a rhythm sound and a solo one. And he came up with the idea of naming it Mach Schau in honor to that Hamburg era.
Mm-hmm. It's like very scary clever. When I'm playing my casino and I kick on the Mach Schau and I play like Taxman. It's just incredible how accurate it sounds.
It's quite gainy, I think a little bit too much sometimes.
And now that you're saying that, which guitar do you guys, I don't know if you have talked about it, which guitar do you think they used for the Taxman's rhythm guitar and solo?
Oh, and the rhythm? Well, I think, I don't know if we did an episode on it, but I think we probably, I'm speaking for them, but for the rhythm, probably a Stratocaster. Mm-hmm. Possibly the SG, but I think the solo was definitely Paul on the Casino.
Mm-hmm. This guy, the Paul McCartney Casino.
Oh, that's a cool
and Sam's
one.
being very humble. He's done a cover of Taxman doing the rhythm guitar on his Sonic Blue Strat, dead on 100%. So it's at least
and
in my opinion,
I used the
certainly
Dr.
a Strat.
Robert for both for the Casino and Strat on my cover.
And for the solo, you used the Casino?
Yeah, and the Mach Schau section.
Yeah.
It was incredible. I just love, first of all, that, Klaus Voormann, giving his, permission or whatever, feels like you're getting the album tone and the artwork all in one. It's just all endorsed in one thing. Did he come up with the Mach Schau, or was that your tribute to the German thing?
No, that was my idea. Yeah.
I love that.
Because, when you push the switch, there's more gain, more volume, there's more of everything. So more show, Mach Schau.
Makes sense to me.
Because you think about the Beatles playing like a little bit like slaves at that moment in Hamburg, like playing for 8 or sometimes 10 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was 12-hour sets where they did a half hour and then swapped with someone for...
It's crazy, but it totally makes sense that later you see, even when they are with the suits, but they are still a rock and roll band. And I mean, you can listen a proper rock and roll band playing. So and I imagine that guy, who was that guy, Bruno
Koschmider?
Something like, and they were probably exhausted, and this guy was like, "Come on, guys, Mach Schau, Mach Schau."
He did have a little help with those like little blue pills or whatever.
Exactly.
Prellies. That was where the real drug stuff. The Prellies. Yeah.
Well, I just can't compliment the Dr. Robert enough. It's one of my favorite pedals. It's so specific, the tones that you get. A lot of amp in a box pedals kind of get vague sounds that aren't really necessarily accurate, and you have a real transistor, the FET, or I forget which it is, but
the FET section that replicates the tube, the EL84s. That's the intention. But we kind of fell into the rabbit hole of getting as closer as it gets to the real thing. I remember we had a variety of amps. We had Deluxe Reverb, a Mesa, which is kind of, another world, but we wanted to make sure that pretty much with every amp you could get, that character, that texture. We're very proud of that.
Yeah. Me too.
We succeeded, kind of. Yeah.
Certainly did.
And by the way, so I think, because I was asking about the Taxman rhythm guitar and solo, and I think it was a Stratocaster, but it's just my opinion.
On the solo or on the rhythm?
On the solo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Start a fight.
No. Because for a while I was trying the Casino and some other guitars, and I was sure it was the Casino because of the pictures, and probably it is the Casino. But to me, because I made some experiments, and I think it's the Strato. But I don't know.
Well, you got the amp.
Yeah. I have the amp.
You have the amp. Well, maybe that brings us to the next phase, which is the Macher.
Oh, hey.
Hi there.
Hey, up.
What do we have here?
Well, Aclam's latest pedal, the Mocha.
Oh, lovely. What does it sound like?
Well, they told me it's the fuzz circuit from the Vox UL series amps. Do you remember 1966?
Those were at the studio while making Revolver.
And Sgt. Pepper's too.
They told me they nailed it.
Oh, really? Let me play something and we'll see.
I want to hear about this pedal because it's, now with the excitement of the new Rocky pedal and the Dr. Robert got so much excitement. I feel like the Macher is really interesting and specific, and I want to hear about how you came about that.
Well, the Macher, the whole project was in kind of not my idea, but I started the development. It wasn't Marcel's. In fact, Marcel got a prototype later on the design process, and the whole idea came up when I saw a video on YouTube of a guy demoing his Vox UL 730, and he pushed the switch, and he turned out the distortion, and I said, hey, wait a minute, that doesn't sound like the amp, like our amp, sorry. And this got me thinking, and I said, hey, why I don't open the amp again and check what's happening there? And I found the culprit. It was a resistor, which went out of value because, of the time. Sometimes resistors, they shift the value, especially the high value ones like 100 kilo ohms, well, technical stuff. And and I said, hey, why don't try to replicate both sounds? The one that our amp sounds like kind of gated, spluttery, and how the factory one sounded. That was the idea. While I was working on the prototypes, I found a stash of the same diodes, and that for me was like the perfect recipe. I mean, I think I found like 400 of them. So I said to the bosses, hey, why don't we do this, limited run to 100 pedals with that story, which is kind of fun. You can have, the sound of our unit and then the regular one. And that's how it turned out. For me, the bias knob it's quite fun.
Yeah, I like it too.
And that's another flavor. I mean, you can use it in conjunction with the Dr. Robert, so you can benefit from the meat knob. But it doesn't sound like the Mach Schau. It's another tonality, and probably they use that on some parts of the Revolver record.
By the way, what do you guys think, or where do you guys think the Beatles use a fuzz pedal or fuzz effect, apart from Think for Yourself? That I think you covered it, right?
We did a whole episode on pedals and fuzz pedals. I'm a real fuzz aficionado, so I love the Macher because you got the tone and the bias, and it's very Velcro-y. It's kind of based on a tone bender, right? The tone bender fuzz, right? The circuitry.
Well, actually not. It's a
different design, right?
Yeah. It's a completely different design. The Mocker circuit, it is kind of a primitive distortion plus, because it uses the diodes as a hard clipping into ground. Actually, there's do you remember those plug-in effects from Vox?
Yeah, the Vox V8 something.
Yeah, V and some numbers. There is the first series that were this kind of pencil shaped, the long ones, and there's the boxy square shaped. And so I think there's one unit that uses this kind of same design. I don't know if they match in the same era, but that's kind of the same circuit approach, and it doesn't sound like distortion, or at least what we think about of distortion nowadays. The Boss pedals and the modern stuff.
Fuzz is more gated sounding, right?
Yeah, well, the original unit has this kind of sustaining tone with no gating component, but our amp, because of that faulty component, had it. So I thought, hey, why don't we put this bias knob so you can get those two tones and then something or whatever there's in between of them.
So the bias knob, like turned way down when it gets spittier, is more like the broken amp thing that you have? Got it.
And then when you start turning it up, there is at like 10 o'clock, there's the standard out of the factory tone. And then if you turn it all the way up, it kind of gets it gets kind of compressed. What it reminds me is some Jack White, solo tones. That's what the inspiration came from me. Well, I'm a big Fuzz Factory. Do you know the Zivex Fuzz Factory pedal?
Yeah, it's a great pedal.
That's my favorite pedal out of my entire collection. I have like 10 of them. And the bias knob was a little bit a tribute to that pedal for me.
Because it gets very gated when you turn it all the way down.
Gated, Velcro. You can get a lot of tones. So my approach was to make the pedal as more the most versatile possible with fewer knobs.
It's fantastic. Well, going back to Marcel's question about which songs, I would definitely say,
what do you guys think?
Think for yourself, of course. And then on Revolver, actually on Love You Too, there's those swells that go in with the volume pedal. I think that was a tone bender or maybe the UL. It's Revolver, all too much, maybe.
Got to Get You Into My Life, but not the release version, the alternate take.
Right.
And very quickly, now that you said it's all too much, who do you think was the lead guitar?
We haven't done an episode on that one. That's a
we haven't been asked by fans.
Maybe
you want to save
you want to save that
Marcel,
question for an episode. Well, I think, well, there is a photo of John Lennon, with that Selmer amp. I think. It was
Thunderbird. Yeah. That's interesting.
So
it definitely, Paul was getting very into Jimi Hendrix at the time, so there's definitely
probably all of them, right?
Good chance.
Yeah. And so do you know any other examples of the Beatles
there's
using
the fuzz
the fuzz
face in '69 on Mean Mr. Mustard.
Yeah.
On the bass, right.
And Good Morning sounds like a fuzz to me, the solo.
There's the outtake of Getting Better too. I think there's a bass line with the fuzz on the outtake.
Yeah. Happiness is a Warm Gun solo sounds a little bit spittier to me.
Yeah, and I'm sure you have seen that photo of John Lennon in '63, the recording the first album with
Pep Box.
No, Pep Box, no. The
Maestro fuzz tone.
The Maestro,
exactly.
Yeah, there's a photo of George with the Maestro on the amp, and then only one I guess there's a photo with John on, I can't remember which song it is. It's the one where he uses tremolo. Probably Don't Bother Me. Is that what you said?
Or She Loves You. They might.
And he's got the tremolo pedal right next, and I think maybe the Maestro might be on the floor nearby.
Yeah, but it's funny that there is this picture of John connected, but I think that George Martin probably didn't like that. So
would have been very different.
Yeah.
They're only allowed to innovate so much.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we go on next to your newest release, the Go Rocky Go. I'm super excited about this pedal. I just got it a few weeks ago.
There you go.
There it is.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Especially, I mean, first of all, having the mid-range boost toggles on a pedal is just genius. And I've been using it actually live. I've been playing some shows lately and using it as a boost into my other overdrive pedals, and it works as kind of like a treble boost thing. There's so many things you can do with this pedal, so we have a lot to talk about.
The story is that when we got the Vox UL 730, we had the opportunity to get this Conqueror, so we bought it. It was,
I don't know if it was before, quite before that. No, I'm not sure, because it's been some years now.
I think that my guess is that the Dr. Robert project was, started. It got started, but while we didn't have the UL 730, we got this one, which was mine.
Yeah, I know. I remember.
Yeah, it is.
But at the time, you didn't like it so much.
Yeah. That's right. You got me there. Well, I liked it, but it wasn't my thing. Well, anyway, we got that amp, and well, we did the Dr. Robert, which was the Revolver. We did the Mocker, which was the Sgt. Pepper's. So the natural thing for us was to start working on the next album. So again, the same process. The amp was pretty much restored, but I opened it again and measured it, traced it, and
this one here.
It's that one there.
Yeah.
It's seen better days. It's beat up.
Yeah, this one is quite.
Yeah. Not in the best shape, but it sounds great. It sounds awesome. Now I'm saying that. Back then I didn't say that.
Yeah, but being a solid state amplifier, I mean, not you or me were into solid state amps.
No. Of course, if you get the chance to choose one, I think everyone will always choose a vintage AC30 over that stuff. But when you get into those album tones, you see that there's something special and quite unique on there too. And the approach with that pedal was a little bit different than on the other ones. The idea was to put as many things as possible on it, because, of course, there's other versions of that amp in pedal format. There's the white pedal. We are quite aware of it. And there's the Magical Mystery Box from Cavallé. Both are, amazing pedals. We got them, and I love them, especially the white pedal. I love how it sounds. But the idea here was, to get the closest thing again. But
I don't know why they are not making it anymore, the white pedal.
I don't know actually. I think the Magical Mystery Box, you can get it, but only by order.
Yeah,
it's not in stock or something like that. And the white pedal, they do some runs now and then, but it's not in stock, regularly. Mm-hmm. I don't know. So well. Having those examples, it was, kind of easy for us, to get into the drawing board and put something more onto our version. So that's what we came from. The crunch mode is something that I came up while trying to find the diodes to get the distortion right. Because the diodes on the Conqueror are not silicon, unlike the Vox UL 730. Well, all the Vox UL series had those silicon diodes, one of the early ones, And in the case of the Conqueror and Defiant, Supreme, all those versions, they had germanium transistors wired as diodes, and they have a pretty unique voltage drop. So it is quite hard to find germanium diodes nowadays, especially in high quantities, and that would drive out the price a little bit high.
They are really unstable, right?
Yeah, well, but wireless diodes, they are not as unstable, but it's
as
kind of
transistors. They are right, very unstable.
It's kind of it's a supply chain issue. What we're talking about, if you want to do
doesn't
quantities.
help that the Klon isn't the Klon Centaur germanium diodes too, and it's such a rare pedal.
Yeah, exactly. And germanium diodes, they didn't do the trick. Also, we had to find another option, but I found it. But while I was trying different options, I found that another diodes gave the circuit a different character, and that's where the crunch mode inspiration came from. And you guys seem to like it, which is,
I love the crunch mode. It's such a cool thing because it does get that amp kind of natural distortion sound, and I love the distortion mode. Is that based directly off of your Conqueror on the Rocky?
Yes. And the distortion mode or the distortion effect, that's where the special diodes come into place, and they do. They sound practically identical. I can put the germanium diodes and the ones that we're using on the Rocky, and you'll have hard times to differentiating them. Yeah.
And the clean, bypass mode is really interesting to me because you get just a different flavor with those EQ knobs, and it sounds kind of transistory to me, or diode-y, like. Yeah,
there's some kind of hi-fi component into that tone. It's quite interesting. That's what I didn't like back then of the amp, but now I'm
that
embracing
sterile
it.
kind of tone. But that's part of that sound. It's really cool.
Actually, when you put it into a regular amp and you see how different the tone is, you see that it's quite interesting to have those different tonalities, and it definitely approaches you to that Sgt. Pepper's magical
mystery tour
flavor. Yeah.
At the beginning, I have to say that I wasn't really that interested in this project. I thought, okay, another Beatle pedal. All right, I like it. I'm up to it. But I thought it's not going to be better than Dr. Rubber for sure. But I have to say that I was really surprised with the result, and also because it's kind of versatile, and you have this secret mode, and it really has a different flavor. So I really like it.
Yeah, that was the idea. The Dr. Robert, it's versatile on its own, especially with the mid knob. You can get many tonalities out of it, but it's just 4 knobs.
No tone control.
No. There is the internal EQ,
dips.
but it's not easily accessible. So you kind of set it and forget it in the case of the Dr. Robert. But that's that I didn't want to do that with the Go Rocky Go. I wanted to be really versatile, to get many different tones out of it, and I wanted to give the user functionalities that the Beatles back then would dreamed about it. For example, the mid-range boost, you had to turn the rocker switch to activate it. That doesn't happen on the Rocky. You can push both switches and you can activate it, and that gives another layer of expressiveness. For example, what you said, that you use it as kind of not a treble boost, but a mid-range boost
sound, or
so you can drive the overdrive pedals and all that stuff. I thought that's kind of interesting, and some people will find it useful. And with your example, you're proving me right.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to say, too, the artwork, I can see Michael itching to show his guitar because the Rocky artwork is fantastic.
Yeah, this is not one I painted, but I have the pleasure of editing our recent episode on Rocky, so the recording of this is pretty good timing. But halfway through, I decided, why not get one? I became obsessed with how it looks. So in tribute to your pedal, here is my Rocky. There we go.
That's beautiful.
That's super cool. So you painted it?
I wish. No. I found this on Reverb for a cool $500. It is a Squier Strat, not a Fender Strat.
Wow.
Okay.
But yeah, that artwork is just, it really catches your eye.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah.
I mean, it's not something that maybe you would do nowadays if you had a 60s Stratocaster. Probably painted with this kind of painting. Although I like it a lot. I mean, and you can see that they were really geniuses, really true artists.
Mm-hmm. So, the idea from the artwork was basically we didn't find any more inspiration. The white pedal idea was already taken, so it would be unfair to use it again. And a graphic designer that was working for us on that period suggested to use the Rocky artwork, and it was a perfect match. I mean, there's nothing more on that story. We did some ideas, and he came up with a really beautiful artwork. In fact, this is a previous version because, as you can see, well, I don't know if you can see it here, but it doesn't say. Oh no, this is the last version. It says Barcelona. But on previous versions, it said Vivo Palula, like on the original guitar.
Oh, that's cool.
But we were afraid on some copyright infringements.
It's cool that they almost exactly match in terms of like length of letters and the B and the A at the end. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to tell if I weren't looking closely.
Yeah, he did a really good job. Yeah.
That's so cool.
So, yeah.
Sam, are there any covers you've used that on recently?
Yes. So I had the pleasure of collaborating with Aclam with the release of this pedal on social media, getting the pedal early, and I'm just in love with it. But yes, I did Baby You're a Rich Man because I was studying George's guitar part. It's kind of buried in the mix, but he's using, I believe, the mid-range boost because I turned that on with my Casino, started playing that low chugging rhythm, and it matched it perfectly. So yeah, that might be the first cover using your new pedal.
I really liked Sam's I think you made a demo or something where you did the ending of Birthday on it.
You're selecting between different spikes and frequencies, and you hear this in Birthday at the end. On the last chord, the piano was mic'd and then plugged into a Vox Conqueror amp, and somebody was actually toggling the mid-range boost function, and that's the effect that you hear at the end of that song. So it's pretty interesting. I don't know if any pedal has actually ever included mid-range boost on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now people can do that live if they're you have a piano.
That's a really cool thing to have.
Speaking of cool vintage gear, can you tell us a little bit about what's on your wall back there?
I had the same question.
Oh yeah.
Beat you to it.
I don't know if we can talk much about it.
Why not?
There's some stuff coming in. Some is Dr. Robert related, and
but I think they are asking about the guitars we have on the wall.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
but you can keep going about the secret stuff too if you like.
I misunderstood the question. Sorry.
No, but you go ahead and
they'll kill me.
We are among friends, so no problem.
Sorry.
We can edit it out.
Okay, sorry.
No,
are those your guitars on the wall?
Yeah, maybe we should say that we are in this space. You only see a part of it. It's going to be now difficult to show all the whole place, but this used to be a garage, and now it's a kind of not exactly a venue, but this is like a guitar museum. I mean, there are like 160 guitars around here.
Oh, wow.
And this part is the part that I like the most, of course, the Beatles guitars. Although I got this one wrong because I changed a guitar today, and Marc told me, why is it that guitar over there? That garage over there is not exactly Beatles related, but it should be the double
cutaway.
The double cutaway.
6120, is that?
Yeah, I was looking at that. I was trying to figure out what was going on. The real F-holes. Yeah.
This is a 1959 really cool Gretsch guitar.
That's my dream guitar.
Yeah, it's super cool. And that one is a 66 Epiphone Casino.
Okay.
Oh, it's vintage. Wow.
Yeah, it is vintage.
You can see with the shaping of the horns a little bit that don't they get a little sharper in 66 or something like that? Is that right, Sam?
Uh-huh.
On all the ES guitars, yeah.
It looks like really new, but I think it's the original finish and everything.
Yes, yeah.
And so.
And I don't know what's in the middle. Is that maybe the Texan?
Exactly, it's a Texan. A really cool. You mean that one?
I can't see behind Marc. I don't think.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, there it is.
So
okay,
that one exactly.
That's
That's a 66 or 67.
Oh, no, that's it.
Epiphone Texan, fantastic guitar.
There's a Rosewood Telly I'm seeing now too.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
you guys can just leave. We'll just stare at your guitars for an hour. Just go. We're done.
And that one, that's really cool. Duo Jet, same year that the one that George Harrison had.
Oh wow,
57, right?
57. Wow,
57, I think. Yeah. Fantastic guitar.
Very cool.
That's cool. What's next to the J160 to your right? We can't quite see it.
On the bottom right. It's like a second J160.
Oh, it's another J160?
Yeah. Very bottom right.
Yeah. Those over there are J160. Oh, and again, really, I don't know what you think. Odd choice to.
Oh, yeah. We definitely think that they were trying to imitate the ES-175 that Tony Sheridan had.
Exactly, yeah. I heard that story that they were in fact thinking that they were getting, when they asked in this guitar shop in Liverpool, they asked for the Jumbo Gibson, right? Mm-hmm. And strangely enough, it was listed as a Jumbo, this guitar, at the moment. Yeah, and it's not a Jumbo.
It's a Jumbo, not a super Jumbo.
Yeah, and that one is 50. No, the reissue is that one over there.
Okay.
But this one is 59.
Wow.
Okay.
Very nice.
Interesting.
And do you have
guitar.
a Ramirez? And you're a Spanish company.
Exactly. So the story goes that Klaus went to Madrid sometime in 61, 62 maybe, and visited Madrid, and he got friendly with a bullfighter, and this bullfighter walked close to this guitar shop, which happened to be a Jose Ramirez guitar shop, which I don't know if you are familiar with it, but they are really cool and very good Spanish guitars. They are different ranges. And actually the one that Klaus Voormann bought is the one that he gifted to George Harrison, and he used.
I didn't know that it was
Klaus.
Klaus.
At least is what Klaus told me. So
wow,
that's Forrest Gump, man. He's everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And it was even a really good guitar. It was a cheap Jose Ramirez guitar for a student, but sounds good to me.
They've done a reissue since then of the exact same guitar, and I think the reissue is like $10,000 to $20,000, and that's surprising. I actually didn't know it was a student guitar. That's very interesting.
Yeah, it was a student. It was like the cheap range of Jose Ramirez, and I hope I'm not wrong, but that's what I remember. Yeah, but Jose Ramirez are really great guitars. I wouldn't buy that one though. I would buy another one for a lot less.
Different model. Or,
Yeah.
Well, if both of you, this will be my final question. If both of you could pick one guitar off that wall, and you have to pick one, which one would it be?
I know. For me, it would be the Duo Jet. Duo Jet is
That's what I would have said.
Fantastic guitar. Although I like the Casino a lot. I mean, to me, the shape, the sunburst, and the P90s are just great. But the Duo Jet, that's really, really an amazing guitar.
I'd say the Casino, but if that one was a real vintage Rosewood, I think I'll go with a Rosewood. Yeah.
We have two George Harrison fans here. I can tell with the Duo Jet and the Telly.
Yeah. I'm that's my favorite Beatle, actually.
For me, it's Paul. Well, I love them all, of course, but for me, it's Paul. So yeah.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention. Well, first of all, that 6120. I'm a big Pete Townsend fan, so that's my dream guitar. Too. But you did make a pedal inspired by the Who, the Windmiller, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this one here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting, that story, because it's based off of actually a reverb unit that he boosted to create overdrive. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And he used it because at the moment probably there were many overdrive pedals around, apart from the fuzz tone bender pedals. And he was really probably into trying different things, and I don't know. It probably was around his studio, and it really provides that Townsend of that era
sound
tone to me.
Yeah.
So cool. Yeah. He was very technical. So I think it was called the Grampian reverb unit.
The Grampian 636.
Yeah. Probably he was just, messing around with reverb and, dialing the knobs, and he probably noticed that when he turned the gain all the way up, the saturated differently, and he found his way into a heavy rock sound with that reverb. Yeah.
It's similar to what Jimmy Page did with the Echoplex. He just used it as a boost, and they've made some pedals based on just that circuit without the echo.
But actually, that's the Pete Townsend thing is prior to the Jimmy Page Echoplex. So he was kind of a pioneer on.
In fact, he was a pioneer in many things. It seems that Jimi Hendrix used the Marshalls because he told him to use them. They are cool. So.
And there is a video on YouTube of live at the Marquee Club, the Who playing live at the Marquee Club, and you can see at the end, it's probably at the end of the performance, that he turns all the knobs all the way up. So he's adding gain plus reverb into that performance, which is kind of fun. And that video served us as an inspiration to design the Windmiller.
But there's also a video clip of pictures of Lily, and they are recording it at the studio, and you could see it at the studio too.
Oh, I didn't know that. I love that video. That's cool. I'll have to watch that again.
And I love that song.
Again, that was Marcel's idea to replicate that preamp, and he found an original one too.
Well, and in fact, it was Pete's original Grampian.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the seller.
Well, that's what the seller said.
Yeah, the seller said that, but
at least. But
we cannot, there is no certificate or anything.
You'll have to ask
Pete there is a certificate, yes,
Really?
which I don't know if it means
if
anything.
it's real or not. That's really interesting. Wow.
Well, the price tag was...
it was quite expensive.
Yeah, it was for Pete's one.
They are quite expensive now. And I thought that Pete wasn't using the reverb effect at all. But in fact, some months ago, he posted a photo of him at his studio with the grand piano behind him. And I said, hey, how important was the grand piano for you? And he answered it. He answered me. And he said, yeah, I used it a lot, and I used to distort the amps, and also I used the reverb a lot, which I didn't know.
It's nice he responded. That's really cool.
Oh, yeah, that was amazing.
Marcel is kind of lucky contacting to rock and roll stars. I don't know how he does
Maybe he
it.
can help us with our future guests, be like a PR person for us.
I'm up to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still thinking, I don't know, I'm sure you guys too. What should I do to someday get in touch with Paul McCartney and just say, hey, hello, how are you? I mean, I love your music and blah, blah, just for 2 minutes. 2 minutes is enough. Well, if it could be 5 or 10, so much better.
I think Sam taught us that he still owns the house in Cavendish. You could just
leave a pedal.
I visited
outside his gate.
I visited the house from outside, of course, not long ago, and it seems I think you talked about it, right? That he's not happy that people knowing that is his house, but of course I can understand that.
Yeah, I think people come through and steal his trash or something. I'm not really sure.
Well, we don't know if he's using it, but Brian Ray has a Dr. Robert and a Mocker.
Oh, no way. Is that right?
Yeah. We reached him. It wasn't Marcel's this time.
This time it was.
It was another member of the team, but she texted him via Instagram and he replied, and we got to send him both the Dr. Robert. I don't know if the Dr. but yeah, probably the Dr. Robert and the Mocker. And
well, there's your connection right there, man. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I wonder if
we are all connected. Yeah.
Sometimes I've wondered if Paul McCartney knows who we are or knows about the Dr. Robert.
Maybe.
Who knows?
You also have
the Brian
Noel
Ray
Gallagher.
connection.
Didn't Noel Gallagher use a Dr. Robert?
But I will say, that pedal that came out, that guy that did the Dr. Robert pedal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the Aclam.
Yeah. It's fucking unbelievable.
It's great.
That's on my new record, and it's the closest I've ever heard to that kind of thing. I've got a track on my new album called There She Blows, which is just, it sounds like the Beatles anyway, but it's with that thing, it's amazing.
Yeah, he knows.
Yeah. Noel Gallagher used the Dr. Robert on a song called There She Blows on his last album, and he used the Windmiller also on another song.
Yeah, and he talked about it, which was really good for us.
Yeah.
And we are happy about it.
Yeah.
And he's gonna have a couple of pedals, the Mocker and the Rocky too.
Yeah,
that's
we'll
cool.
send him more.
Well, maybe Marcel, our best advice for you is to steal Paul McCartney's trash. That's your way in to get it.
Yeah, I mean, for sure you can find interesting things there, but
especially trash.
Yeah.
I would go really well. I think you would really like that.
Banana peels and this kind of thing. Yeah. All right.
Well, I don't know if we're allowed to ask. I don't know if that's what Marc was getting at, but are there any future projects you can tell us about?
There is some Dr. Robert related stuff coming. I don't know when, but yeah, it's coming. And who knows what the future to pass for us. I mean, we've got a wide range of overdrive, preamp, distortion units. So we'd like to, expand the effect range with another types of effects like tremolo, delays. That's that's what's there on our pedal horizon. But I can say for sure when it's gonna be out. But our plan is to release at least 2 pedals a year. That's
exciting.
our plan.
Wow.
That's our plan.
And do you guys have any ideas for us?
Ooh. I would love to see some sort of tremolo from those Vox UL or Conqueror amps because they're really weird tremolo.
Yeah, that's well, we'll see.
I think John, I think John used the tremolo on Paperback Writer, the rhythm guitar, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, he used that Gretsch, which I thought was that one. It's not that one.
You can just give that one to me, the single cut.
Oh, if you're gonna use it.
Oh yes.
I think the main request I would have is Anya Bird can sing that lead guitar sound. I've tried to get it with every pedal I have. The closest I've gotten is through Dr. Robert, but the attack is just so short and crispy. If you could really nail that, I'll pay tens of thousands of dollars for that pedal.
Well, if you pay tens of thousands of dollars,
maybe not that much.
We can build it for you.
Thousands of dollars.
Yeah, I have some ideas about that, and maybe we can talk another time. But yeah, there are more things involved.
Mm-hmm. We'll see.
Ryan, any suggestions?
I don't know. I'm thinking what weird exotic things because yeah, I don't know. We've covered a lot of the amps. I mean, you could do the Selmer. That'd be kind of cool, but we don't know for sure if that was ever used.
I think so. It was used, and it's getting better. That rhythm guitar with.
Yeah, it's just hard to know which.
Yeah,
because there's photos, of during Sgt. Pepper.
Maybe Good Morning, the guitar solo.
I've had that amplifier, the Zodiac and
really?
Thunder. In fact, we have one here, Zodiac, and they are super clean amplifiers. Really cool sounding, but super clean. That I don't think that they used it a lot. In fact, they were not theirs. They were for. They got it for a rental music shop in London.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just know that Perry, who we've talked to, has one, and he has a. Does he have a Conqueror? I can't remember what the other. Oh no, he has a 730, and so he was comparing tones with the 730 and the Conqueror, or 730 and the Thunderbird, and he was pretty sure that the Thunderbird is not used on Sgt. Pepper, or at least the song Sgt. Pepper, but maybe getting better, like you said. We don't know.
I always thought that because I also seen that. Those pictures of Paul McCartney playing that Squire guitar, to me it makes sense that could be. But I also read somewhere it was John Lennon. I don't know. I wasn't there.
Unluckily.
Or maybe luckily, because I'll be older now. So, but yeah.
Could be
well,
cool
maybe before Sam takes us home, I wanted to take a moment to be selfish and thank you guys. I got this in 2020, and to this day, I think my best and closest YouTube Beatles covers have been using this. I've done a cover of Rain, a cover of Hello Goodbye, and when I listen to them again, the guitar tone just gives me chills. The idea that I would get to speak to you guys at any point never entered my mind, so thank you for the work that you do, and I can't wait to see what you guys do next.
Well, thanks to you guys.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I mean, it's been our pleasure. And I mean, I'm a fan of what you do, guys. So a real pleasure and I'm honored.
And I got to use, I have a Dr. Robert as well. I used it on Paperback Writer cover.
Yeah.
So that was pretty fun to use.
Thank you.
And I have all three pedals. I'm an Uber fan. So thank you guys so much. It's amazing to finally meet you guys and hear the stories behind these pedals, because I know a lot of us Beatles fans are really grateful for what you do. I think that it would be really hard to get these tones without the products you made. So thank you guys.
Well, I'm very glad you like it. Yeah. And by the way, I don't know if it was clear, but I was talking about this place where you are all invited to come if you are visiting Barcelona. This is a guitar museum, but this is also a venue where we program music and clinics, master classes, this sort of thing. And this is called Aclam Club. So you can find us on Instagram, or the website is aclamclub.com. Or you can write us an email if you happen to be in Barcelona and want to visit us. You are more than welcome.
Gracias.
Well, thank you very much.
I think we need to fly out there.
Yeah, I mean, Barcelona is a cool place, I think.
It is.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Maybe in the future we can do something together again where, we dive into a Revolver song that you like or something. We just would love to have you on again. But really, thank you for your time. And I know it's late where you are right now.
Don't worry.
No problem.
No problem.
It's worth
Thank
it.
you so much for having us.
Take care, guys. Yeah,
Take
thank you so
care.
much.
See you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow, that sounds cool, man. What happens when you turn it fully clockwise?
Well, that's a new sound. Neither of our amps or the Aclam one sound like this. It's kind of compressed. Give it a go, G.
I wish I had this versatility back then.